Hi, welcome all of you to Nalin's Academy once again. This is yet another video from me, and in this video, I will explain you about how to create your first React component using React.js. And for this, I will use a website called CodePen and also a project that I prepared using the npm library Create React App, which I already explained you in my first video. And if you didn't watch that, I will add it in the description, and you better go watch that because I have already explained you about the basic things as an introduction. You have to aware before starting React.js development. Okay, now I will go to the CodePen my project. This is CodePen. Actually, this is how it looks like. And okay, now you can see the component. There's a person's name and age in the output, and this is my HTML. Okay, now let's go and add another person using the HTML. I haven't used any JavaScript still, because this is pure HTML. You can see the name, and I will uncomment this one now, and we'll see after saving what will happen. Okay. Oh, now you can see the another next person promote with age 36 has been appeared in the browser. So that means you can understand this is the HTML file, and this is my output. And okay, now let's go and uh, do this using React.js. So React.js actually, if you want to create a component, what React.js offers you is the JavaScript file. And also another thing is that you have to include your JavaScript with the JavaScript preprocessor, because Babel is including JavaScript XML preprocessing, because if not, you can't compile your JavaScript XML code into HTML. So I will explain you this furthermore in the later part of this CodePen example. Also, for now, you understand you have to include Babel, and as well as some several links to be added here. So I will share my CodePen project with you, so you will be able to see the links in this and also the preprocessors options. Okay, now this is my person function. Actually, I created it using the function prototype, and I have passed props here. So I have the name and the age, and also I have included city property here. And okay, now let's go and see. Before that, I will comment this out, the one that I used previously, and I will create another div called p1 here. So I will, okay, now I have the div with id p1, but now you can see there's nothing showed in the browser. So that means still this function person has not been compiled and rendered to the HTML where the id is p1. So let's go and see how we could acquire that. Okay, now I think if you can remember, in the previous video also I explained about the React DOM render function. So now here what happens is I have uncommented this React DOM render function. So the place where ID is p1, so this component will be rendered to the browser. That's how it works. And also, so now I will try to add my other person which it was promote. So let's go and see how I could acquire it. Okay, I will again uncomment out this, and now you can see again only the person Sanath is showing here. So that's because I haven't rendered my p2 tag using the render method. So I will uncomment this out also. Now let's see what happens. Okay, cool. Now you can see the Pramod person also now appears. So, but can you see that there isn't a city in the browser mentioned? So that why? So actually, let's go and see what happens there. So I have defined a city here, and the p tag word is there, but the property hasn't been shown in the browser. So let's go and see where this went wrong. Okay, now the place where I call this person component is this, the two places using the p1 tag and the p2 tag. But you can see I have only included the name and age in both of these persons. So that means definitely I have to add the property in the place where I call my component. So let's say I add call here, and then I will add another city here like Colombo. Okay, now we shall see what happened. Okay, let's okay, now can you all see the cities has been updated in both the persons. So that's how you have to define, and you have to pass your properties to your created components. So okay, cool. Now let's go and see. So and the another problem is that if you want to add let's say 50%, so you have to call this 50 times. So that's not a good practice, and that's not the way actually. And we'll see how we could acquire this all these problems. So there's a way that you could create a component called app like this, and inside this div you could add whatever it is the number of your actually the components, and then you could render this app component using this react down render method. And actually what happens here is the app component is the main the topmost component in your app, and then you can create a tree like structure like this actually. Okay, if you could understand, so this is my app component, I will show you it, and this is my app component actually. And then I will have many number of components inherited from app like this. And then those components are let's say c1, c2 and c3. Then each and every of these components would also have their child components. So likewise this is arranged like a tree, and in the tree you could pass properties from topmost level the app component to the down the bottom, the most bottom component into your application. That's how your properties will be passing, and your own states will be manipulated and in each and every of this component as well. So this is the high level architecture or the hierarchy of the react js components in your react application. And let's go and deploy the app component into the id in the HTML file. So I will comment this out again. Now it's okay, and I will uncomment this now, and let's see. So my div has the id as id, and okay, now cool. Now you can see all my components has been rendered to the browser. And also we shall examine how this render method works. So I will change this root to which the to root, and now let's see what happens. Okay, now nothing is shown here, and so that's why, because the IDs are mismatching here. So I will change the ID root once again to root here and save it. Let's see. Okay, now you will now pretty much clear what happened here. So that's what I wanted to show you on the component creation. I hope you get that one. And let's see how this compiled in the using the Babel. So there's an option here. You can see the view compile JavaScript, and if you can see here, now the compiled JavaScript is looks like this. So it has changed. So that's because JavaScript has several versions like ES5, ES6, such like of versions. So for each and every version, the browser has to make a compatible HTML output. Show it using the Babel. Now I will add this code here. Now you'll see it shows the browser compatible JavaScript output here. So this is how the Babel works, and you must understand correctly what the preprocessor and why you need it in your application. And also then I will move to the VS Code project which I created now. My VS Code projects, can you see I have created using some folder called components and containers, where I used Redux for some of the work in the project. So you don't need to know about that for now. And I have created my person component here, and added the person CSS and person JavaScript file as well. And also this is a class-based component, and how a class-based component looks like is this. So you have to import the component from React, component class from React, and also you could use this constructor to inherit the properties from the component class, as well as the properties that you will be passing to your component. And I will show you the return type of this render function. You can see, so the method person.render, the output is JSX element. So that's why you have to use Babel. I already explained in the CodePen project. So in each and every so this is how you will be able to code using ES6. So these two structures are different but the same output. And also this is what you saw I used in the CodePen project. So it using the function prototype way. So and the next part is the hierarchy, which how it appears in the React project. So in the index file you can see there's a render method, and you have the id root, and index HTML file has the id roots. That's how it maps. And here the topmost component is app, and inside it you see the person component. And if you need to add more persons, which I does it in the CodePen, let's go and see to add some new friends here. So I will add a person new called Madhava, and 30, let's say 35, and again a 38, yeah, person called Janaka. Okay, now I will save this project, and let's go and see in the browser what it appears. Pretty much clear how this works in the React JS application in the localhost 3000 port. So I have added 3%. So like this you will be able to create your own components and reuse that components in your application. And okay, the next part that I need to explain you is the how your file structure must constructed within your project. So there are a few ways, recommended ways in the React official site. So there's a problem question actually, is there a recommended way to structure React.js projects? Okay, so it says like that they have included actually two main points there here. So one is grouping by features or routes. Here using the features or routes, they have they recommend you to group your components or the files or here. So there's a folder called command, and there's a folder called feed, and there's a folder called profile. So that means a feature or route is used here. So the feed component has all of its JavaScript file, CSS file, API integrated file, and the test 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 file also. And in the command folder also like that, and in the profile folder also like that, using the profile js, profile header likewise. That's one method. And let's go and see the next one. So the next one is grouping by file type. So that means the API folder, component folder. So you have divided it, you can divide it, and in the components folder it has all the type of components, the CSS files and the test files of the components. So avatar, feed, and profile. So all the components types you could and the component type and the component files you could add under the components folder. And the next one is the API folder, which in where you integrate your backend using the front end. So those kind of files have been added under the API folder. Likewise, you will be able to create your own folders and structure your project. And the next important thing is they tell that avoid too much nesting, because if you have too much nesting, that then it will be very uncomfortable when you need to import the files in the project. So that's not a good thing. And also the next important thing is don't overthink it, because so without overthinking, you just try to create your folder structure in a simple manner, in a way that you will be easy to manipulate your files within the project. So okay, now I think most of the parts have been covered here. So I just wanted you to show you the simple way of creating your first component. And also I would like to explain the lifecycle hooks of class-based component in the next tutorial. And until then, hope you are staying safe, and see you in the next video. Thank you.